Um, all right, everyone. It's another episode of the Clay Talk Show, and we've previously covered a lot of different topics, as far as going into job market these days, some similar issues that people may have with getting certain requirements filled, hiring practices being distorted, and other issues with just getting told to go to college to get a job, but then you go to college and can't find one. So I have a special guest here who wants to share her experiences of um, being a job seeker in the job market in 2023. And we're just going to cover just some more typical things that a job seeker may see, more issues that may uh, arrive from previous things that you've been told, as far as how to get a job, resume requirements, skill requirements, college requirements, and so on and so forth. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Miss Christian here. So, you want to just give us a little background about yourself and what are you doing and what's your experience in?
Okay, so hey everybody, my name is Kristin Rice. I do have my degree in exercise science from the University of Memphis. I've worked as a medical assistant in various different settings such as chiropractic or just general medicine. I've also been on the sports side of things. I've done volunteer coaching. I've done sports rehab. I've done just summer track leagues, summer soccer leagues with the kids. But that's really just my lane of focus that I like to be in.
All right, so that's an interesting background with the exercise science and things of that nature. So, how long has it been since you graduated, and some maybe some projects that you've worked on in that field since being out of college?
Okay, so it's been about 5 years. My first about year and a half out of college, I spent my time getting certified as a chiropractic therapist, and I did that for some time, which was great. And then I moved into the entrepreneurial side of things. So at the time, what was your other question as well from that, as far as what I done outside of college?
Yeah. So, when you got out of college, like certain projects you might have worked on, like pertaining to the degree that you attained at the University of Memphis, as far as exercise science, things that like complement that degree, right?
Besides medical assistant, I went to the entrepreneurial side of things, which was great. Entrepreneurship is a whole nother journey in itself, but I did have my own personal training business where I did have a few steady clients. And I feel like that worked out for me, but there's still things that I'm learning about the entrepreneurial side, which I do think my degree helped me in that area.
Okay. So, have you feel as though that the entrepreneur side of the business uh, has been more rewarding rather than actually having I guess, a corporate job in that field per se?
Um, I say yes and no. Yes, due to the fact that it's my own business, I can set my own hours, I can make my own rules, and as long as I'm following, lawful guidelines and things of that nature, then I enjoyed that aspect of it. Um, Setting my own prices, paying myself the way I want to be paid, all of that was great. I think as far as security goes, that's another story. Paying out of pocket for everything because when it comes to insurance, as far as your health insurance, having insurance for your business just in case something happens. Um, if you start an LLC, learning how to work that, knowing what goes into your taxes as far as owning a business. There's very different things that go into owning a business as opposed to working for a corporation in which you have more security in the sense of benefits. I wouldn't necessarily say job security because I think, well, what I've seen, there's been high turnover rates for whatever reason in certain job markets. But There's pros and cons to both sides, definitely.
Yeah. Uh, I like how you covered that the side of the job security portion and what you've learned from college actually can apply to that business that you're into with
Mm-hmm.
exercise science and things like that. Um, Previous guest on here, she has a master's in business and now entrepreneur. And her standpoint on the college side of things was that the knowledge gained in that degree program really didn't help her start her business. It just the things that she needed to learn did not directly apply. So she could have did everything without that degree, right? So in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, it could be looked at as a waste of time, or maybe not a waste of time, but just lessons learned or things of that nature. But shifting gears into the job security portion with the job market, because a lot of people, as you said, they want the security part as far as the benefits, knowing what they're going to make, the consistency, and just knowing what to expect. That's what happens when you have a corporate job, right? So
Right.
when you were an entrepreneur, then you don't really know where it's that coming from. You don't know what the next day is going to look like. So I think it's more adventurous in that standpoint of not knowing what to expect, but at the same time, it can be a little intimidating for people to jump into that business.
Right.
So, in your standpoint on being in the job market, what are some issues with trying to get into a exercise science role that fits that degree? What are some so for people who are also pursuing a similar type of major? What would you say some common issues you've seen when people trying to get their first job? Should they get their first job with a business, or should they try to start an entrepreneurship? So,
I wouldn't say start your own business outright with entrepreneurship. I definitely would say learn more about how to properly run a business and execute it and keep your retention going so that way um, your cash flow stays consistent. As far as what to expect when you graduate with an exercise science degree, um, the thing about my degree is it's like a big umbrella. A lot of people who go to school for exercise science can either go on to PT school, OT school, nursing school, go get your master's in sports medicine, want to be athletic training and things of that nature. Um, right outside of school, you do have, like I said, different options of working alongside medical professionals. Even being in schools, you can do PE. Um, but I will say when it comes to that financial aspect, I will say that there's sort of a ceiling within that field because there's just an expectation that you're gonna at least go on to advance your degree in some way, shape, or form. Whether whether you decide to go to school to get another degree or you're gonna study for a certification, whether that you want to be a paramedic or anything of that nature. There's a lot of extra certifications that go into a job within the exercise science field. Because even myself, even when I wanted to be a personal trainer, yeah, I had that sports medicine degree, but I still wanted to be. You still have to be certified to be a personal trainer if you want to work inside of a gym.
mm. So once you obtain certs in your field, does that guarantee you a job?
Mm, I wouldn't necessarily say that it guarantees you a job, but the more certifications that you have, the better chances of you landing that job.
And for someone who wants to gain the knowledge needed, say, hey, I just spent 40, $50,000 in student loans on getting this bachelor's in exercise science, and
Hmm.
I don't have money to pay out of pocket for my search. What else can I do to get into a job for exercise science and whatever field under that umbrella, right? What else can I do without having to spend even more money? Are there any companies that would say, "Hey, we'll take you so you can get your cert within a certain time," or how would
Oh
it work?
yeah. So there are companies to where they'll, for an example, there was a gym that I did apply to where it had an option of, do you have your certification? And either says that I'm working on it, I will get it, or I already have it, or I had it and it's expired. Because with certain certifications, you do have to have continuing educational credits to, keep your certification valid.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain companies, certain corporations that will hire you, but then you're at a certain pay wage, and they'll pay for your test. You know what I'm saying? They expect for you to study for it, give you a certain time, and once you pass, your pay will go up to a different level.
All right. So this field is very different from what we do in tech, right? So my whole thing is the certifications in in my field at least, doesn't really do it. Does the minimum for you. It gives you the knowledge, the baseline, but it doesn't give you the actual tangible skills that you can apply. It's theoretical knowledge. So I'm pretty
Right,
sure in a personal trainer or exercise search, they may be different. You may have to actually perform, a physical skill test to show that you actually know what you're doing, right?
right.
So,
And I feel like I mean, that's really a main part of the sports medicine exercise science field. Um, you can sit in the classroom all day, or you can have all the books to give you the certification, but when it comes to applying it, or when you come to actually instructing someone through a workout or through their treatment plan, it's different. It's just being able to apply the knowledge that you learn to everyday life.
all right. So, in today's time, I know you've been also searching for these, I guess these mid-tier type of roles, but there's been some road blockage there with you, right? So, what would you say is one of the biggest issues with getting into the field?
I say one of the biggest issues would probably have to be requirements.
Mm,
As far as, do I really meet the requirements? And when I say that, there'll be a job that's opening where it might be asking you for maybe 4+ years of experience, maybe have a personal training certification or some other medical type certification, being able to work well with others, having knowledge about medical terminology, etc., etc. And let's just say I applied to that job and I've pretty much done all of that, but there's still that question of what exactly went wrong with my resume, or my requirements that matched what the job needed, to where I didn't get the job. So it's, there's been that issue to where it's like, okay, I have the requirements, but why can't I get the job?
yeah. So that's the across any field, whether it's the tech field or the exercise science or HR or financial or mortgage, whatever field people are in, that's the common denominator of the problem. Where did I go wrong when I'm applying um, for the job that I'm say qualified for based on their requirements, right? So it's kind of frustrating, right, when you say, hey, I did all this, but I'm still not getting seen. But for me, it's just a certain amount of it's a certain solutions you can give to address the issue. But I don't know about your field. Maybe you want to shed some insight on it. For my field, insights would be solutions would be to that issue is doing projects on your own,
Mm-hmm.
showcasing your projects online, saying what you're working on as far as anything technical, which actually displays your skill set, that shows that you have the drive and the knowledge, the passion to actually do it, regardless of whether you're hired or not. shows you're forever learning,
Mm-hmm.
and that would take you a lot farther than just, hey, I got this cert, but I have no experience and I'm just trying to find a job, right? So you can put those skills that you're working on the side as part of your work experience on your resume, and then meet a couple of people and get referrals to get you actually seen, and then that's where the interview skills is up to you to wow them out the park and land a role. So far as in your in your field, what are some things that you can do to overcome, or some things that you think you can do to overcome the issue of, hey, I'm qualified, but it's not sticking with the people reviewing it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
What else can you do to keep your career progression instead of standing still?
One of the things that I've noticed, especially if you're not gonna go on to, let's say, get your master's in that field to maybe do athletic training or something of that nature, or go on to PT, which is physical therapy or occupational therapy, um, uh, continuing certifications is probably going to be their best bet, because within this field, it's great to really hone in on something that you specifically like, whether it's the strength and conditioning aspect, nutrition, working with children, whether it's technology within the sports field as far as like equipment or things of that nature. I feel like finding a specific niche within that field will definitely help you um, get to the right settings that you're looking for and advance on your career, versus trying to be a jack of all trade within it. You
Okay.
can be, but I feel like it's more beneficial for you to be great at one specific thing, because um I feel like that's something that recruiters look at. Like, what exactly are you great at? Do you have something that you can specifically execute within the business?
Exactly, right. So those specific keywords get you found because they're looking for a specific skill to bring on, right? So it's the same across all industries, no matter where you're working at, or who you're working for, or what you're doing. That's
Right.
is the key topic. The key thing is having a specific skill set that you're the subject matter expert and that people go to you for. That what's gonna set you apart from all the thousands of other applicants applying. So with that being said, what do you see in the recruiting side of exercise science? I'm not really, I don't have really high visibility on that, right? How do recruiters engage with you? Maybe it's the same, or maybe not. So, how do they engage when they try to, from the beginning of finding you, from that to the conversations to the uh, wage negotiation, all of that? What's been your experience on those?
Well, for myself personally, I've used, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, things of that nature. Um, I'll have some people either send me an email, reach out to me, I'll come in for an interview. I have had two instances where I'll come in and do like a mock training where they kind of see my training styles, how I work with people, how if I'm hands on enough with folks. I feel like if you're going into the sports side or the personal training side of things, you're gonna get a lot of like mock trial interviews, situational type of interviews. But as far as the recruitment process goes, I feel like it's been the same across the board with other jobs. Emails, calls, coming for an interview type of deal. I've had one instance where it was kind of outside of my field, um, where we had a group interview in a Zoom setting.
Mm.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, well, I don't really know about that that recruiting aspect of it, because on this side of things it gets really interesting and frustrating and maybe simple. On this side of technical recruiting, quote unquote technical, but 95% of the time the recruiter reaching out to you does not be technical at all. So that's already a problem, right? So when a recruiter reaches out to you, do they usually have any knowledge of how exercise science work or personal training or how the skills work? When you're listing saying what you know how to do they even know or understand the lingo of what you're saying to them? They do.
In most of the settings that I've been in, yes, I haven't had anybody hire me that doesn't necessarily know what they're talking about.
Well, the hiring manager does, but the problem is to get to the hiring manager these days, you have to go through the recruiter who has to present you to the hiring manager as a great potential candidate. It's just
Right.
another door. So on this side of things, right? So you have the technical recruiter who reaches out for a technical role, and they have no idea what the skills are, or they have no idea what the technology is. They just want to see if you know what it is. And if you know what it is and can, speak a general ideal about it, then they may say they'll put you in for to be reviewed by the hiring manager. But the problem with that is there's a lot of issues with that. They don't know what the skills are or the technology, so people are just usually wasting people's time because they reach out to you, don't know what it is, and if you say that, oh, example, right? I use this all the time because it's so simple to understand, right? So you have Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, or you have the Apple Play Store and the Google. You got the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, right?
Mm-hmm.
These applications do the exact same thing. They're just different vendors. You got one on the Apple, one on the Google, because they support two different phones, and you got Google Chrome and Edge. But it's safe to say if you know how to use one, you know how to use the other. Just
Right.
different name. So a technical recruiter reach out to you and say, "Hey, we need someone who has Apple App Store experience, know how to, you know, download an app from the App Store." Oh, well, I don't have an iPhone. I use Android, so I use the Google Play Store.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so technical, right? They say, "Oh, well, if you don't have Apple App Store, you're not a good fit." You can't make this stuff up. It's stupidity at its worst. That's what
So
it
does the
is.
recruiter in your field? They don't necessarily have to be a tech person. They just work as a recruiter for
No,
the
and
company.
that's uh, one of the biggest issues to the barrier to entry is just getting past the recruiter part. There's a lot of other things that goes into it, but you see how that can be a problem, right?
Yeah,
They
that
do
is.
they do the same exact things, but since it's not the exact same words, because they don't know what the difference is between the two different technologies, then they just automatically throw you out. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have all the other different issues that goes on with it. Uh, there was a couple on one of my episodes where the recruiter goes into detail about what they actually look for. They want to look for if you're actually working, right? They usually recruiters want to pull somebody that's working already rather than someone who's looking for roles, which is
You
another
know, I
issue.
heard that within your last podcast, and it made me think like, what exactly makes it to where, like, what exactly makes it in their head a good idea to go after someone that's already working, and are you going to compete with their current wages?
Yeah, it's hard to wrap my head around it because I would
Uh,
think it makes sense to it'll be easier to get someone who's actually looking for a role, right? It makes sense. And I
And
asked him,
especially when it comes to availability, a lot of these companies are looking for people that have open availability. Yet you're trying to recruit someone that's already working.
yeah, and that goes into the big issue of people who's posting themselves open to work, and then you have well, that's LinkedIn feature. You have people applying, and they're wondering why they're not getting any hits back. Right? People can say this is where the problem comes in with people paying for, these $500-$600 resumes and all these services to get these certs and skills. You go pay thousands of dollars to get all these certifications. You get your resume built up, but you're still looking, right? Still looking for a job, and you still not getting any returns, even though you did everything that you could, and you're wondering what I'm doing wrong. And this is why I am constantly saying or talking against people who are promising you jobs. The colleges, the the boot camps, or whoever. They say I can promise you a job within a year or 6 months or whatever. You get this certification. You pay this school $10,000 for this certification, or these resume builders for this resume,
Right.
and you still don't have a job, right? So it's
And the
just
main thing is people just want to make a return on their investment, especially when it comes to your degree. Like, I feel like it's unfair to go to school for all these years. You worked hard, turning all your projects, doing this, doing that, and to get out of school and I can only make $13 an hour. Like, I feel like
yeah,
that's a slap in the
yeah,
face.
yeah. That's definitely what's going on, right? And they call it working your way up or whatever. But you can do that without the degree. You can work your way up without the degree. So that's why
Right.
they
I
write
mean,
on
they're
these
starting off
posters.
pay at $15 at Chick-fil-A. So it's like,
What's the purpose, right?
mm-hmm.
What's the purpose of going 80,000 plus dollars in debt to not even see that the benefits of it? And then so that's where we're going into the misconceptions that school gives, or the misconception that people give, that you do all of this and you're guaranteed. And you're not guaranteed anything. What you can do is, go to go get the right skill set and the right network of people, because a lot of people say your network is your net worth, right? If you don't know anybody, it's no matter
Right.
how much school you have, how much skills you have, you're still just going to be another person in 2000 applying to one job that's only available for one person. So what's going to set you apart? You got to have something that's going to set you apart, and usually that's where the people come into play. But they don't talk about that enough, where it's starting to become a topic. So now people are getting more aware. Um, and then, like I said, with the recruiting practices, it seems as though is much more defined on your side of things. But the issue on this technical side of things is that it's just a lot of discommunication, a lot of it's just not communicated well enough of what's actually needed in the role. Because usually recruiters reach out to me and other people about what they're thinking they're looking for. They think what they need because they don't have much information about the technology. They just know what the hiring manager said. They don't even know much about it to even explain the job in detail. So you don't even know if it's a right fit for you. You don't even know if it's a waste of time. You
Right.
have
But I feel
25
people,
interviews and all these other problems that come with the hiring process, and it just
mhm,
drags things out, and it just becomes a draining process mentally and physically, and probably financially, when you have to constantly go to interviews, driving, sitting in traffic, burning gas, and they are making 5 month decisions on when or who they want to hire. And it's just ridiculous.
exactly. And I feel like that's one of the things that's been a barrier within my field as well because again it's like what exactly are we looking for? What are the real requirements if I have them within my resume? Another thing that I've noticed that's kind of been a barrier, or I'm not sure if that's something that if it's frowned upon or what it is, because within my cover letter I'll put, like, let's just say I'm trying to get back into the job market. In my cover letter I'll explain in detail that I was an entrepreneur for 2 plus years, so I wasn't working for anybody but myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I understand, the ins and outs of the business. I let them know that I understand how to run a business, what goes into keeping a business afloat. And yet, I'm not sure if it's because I haven't had an actual, you know, job on paper, or is it because they feel like I haven't been continuing my education because I've been working for myself, which, I have plenty of books. I have a whole library of books on the knowledge that I need, and I continue to educate myself and read new articles on advancements in the field. which is really how you keep up to date. But again, it's just what exactly are they looking for, and if it is a matter of it's about who you know, or either I just need to go ahead and put myself back in school. I feel like that needs to be more thoroughly explained or said.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the issue, right? So when I bring these things up to people or other recruiters or hiring managers or anybody that has a some type of pull in the hiring process and all, there's always been the defending of the hiring process isn't bad, or at least it's not bad at this company and this company. And you end up applying to these so-called companies that have the better hiring process. It is still all the same things. Um,
Yeah, I hear
you,
that a lot. The hiring process is different, but nobody's hiring. So,
yeah, and they have open. So that's another thing that was covered, right? They always says there's this saying going around that people don't want to work, or it's jobs out here, but what they're not telling you is, yeah, there's jobs, but like you said, what they're paying, right? What they're paying, is it something meaningful? Is it something that I want to do? Yeah, of course. Fast food or retail, whatever, warehouse, those type of things may be hiring, and there's a lot of those roles open. Okay, that doesn't mean that that's what I want to do. That's not
exactly.
what I paid whatever X amount of dollars to go to school for to do with my career. So they don't cover that part of hiring. And then also in that same video with the recruiter I talked to, you have jobs that are being posted that is not actual jobs that are needing to be filled, right? Companies want to have the image of they are expanding or they are needing to hire people, or the job is just completely not even a real job. It's just, like I said, they just want to have the image of they're expanding when they're really not, just to have those stocks to stay level or not drop down, or not have the image of layoffs coming, because there's a lot of layoffs going around these
Hmm.
days. And
And a lot of companies will purposely overhire,
yeah,
and then you know what I'm saying, clean house when they pretty much get to where they need to be.
yeah,
Which,
and
which I think is another thing that messes up the job market a lot, especially when it comes to these like smaller corporations that are just starting out. They'll tend to like overhire and bring on a lot of people, but they'll all be lowballed, and then in the end, when everything gets to where I guess their corporation wants to be, they'll phase out the people that they no longer need, and chop down different departments, things of that nature.
and that is why I tell people, we're not shooting for dream companies. We're shooting for, I guess, your dream salary, or you want to be at to take care of your family, your needs, because you have all these major companies who've just laid off thousands and thousands of people who've been there for 20 years or 5 years or 2 months. It doesn't matter. They looking out for what's best for the business, quote unquote, right? So why not look out what's best for yourself? You're a person, you, like you said, you had your own business, so it shouldn't be looked down upon because you had your own business. In that sense, you would think that would make you even more marketable because you have, project management, you have business skills, you have the knowledge of how to actually sustain a business and run it.
Right.
And that can be looked at as, I guess, competition to people who are in the company. Maybe this person may overtake me one day. And that's another topic for the HR discussion I'm having, right? HR people I'm going to talk to, they cover about when you have a hiring manager who wants to bring in someone who's going to bring value, but at the same time not do too much to where they feel as though their job is being threatened now, right? They don't want you to come in and overshadow
Hmm.
them.
And I feel like that gets into a lot of the reasons why some people are will apply for a job that they consider themselves to be, a good fit for, but they told they're overqualified, and it's like,
Mm,
what does that even mean? Like,
yeah.
I would think, what I'm saying, these skills would be a great asset to your company, but specifically, what does overqualified mean within the workplace?
And that answer to that question is, let me give you two answers. I'm gonna give you the corporate recruiter answer, the politically correct one, and I'm gonna give you the real one. So the
Right.
politically correct answer is what I see every day on LinkedIn is, yeah, we can't hire the overqualified person. The overqualified person, they're gonna get bored in the role, and it costs so much money to hire people, and they're just gonna leave when they get a better offering job or whatever, but that may not be the case, right? You can't automatically assume that this person's going to leave just because you say their skills is way over the road. Maybe they've had these director roles, these VP roles, and they're just wanting something that they find enough for them mentally, right? We don't take account into what their mental state is. We're always trying to dig into what people have going on without
Right.
actually asking why they're trying to do this. Instead, to just throw assumptions out there and just hope for the best. So that's the politically correct answer, and the real answer is that like I said, they may see you as a threat to overtake that position. You may take their position they're gunning for, right? They may be gunning for the director position. Maybe they may see you as a threat, or they're trying to save money, right? You have people who are applying the roles they so-called overqualified for. They know they can't pay the people that they want, the amount of money they want to pay, or the amount of money that person will want to be paid. So they call them overqualified as a way to save money. But then you get the other people who apply, and then they're not qualified enough. So it's like where I'm still trying to find a correct answer for where's the median for that, right? Because if you meet all the requirements, you're overqualified. If you're coming short up two of the requirements, then you're not. We got better candidates, and it's stupid to me. So ridiculousness. So as far as progressing forward now, after seeing what's going on in the field in your industry specifically, what do you think you're going to do next as far as um, navigating to get to where you want to be? Have you already scoped out your plan as a position you want to be at, and then if you have, how are you planning on uh, obtaining that role?
Well, I kind of got a plan A and a plan B. Right now, my plan A, I'm still working on my business. I just started my LLC. So, like I said, I'm steady kind of um, teaching myself the ins and out of business, as well as sharpening my skills when it comes to training, and making myself available for all ages, sharpening up my coaching skills when it comes back to the sports that I specifically coach, such as soccer, track and field. But I feel like that's my overall plan for right now. My plan B is definitely to go back to school at some point. Not right now, just because financially I want to build myself up, and as
Mm,
well
yeah.
as just from a mental standpoint, I've been out of school for 5 years, and which has been enough time. I feel like I had enough time to kind of just desensitize from just the constant on go and having project after project to do, because I was involved with different activities on campus, things of that nature, Greek life, and but yeah, my plan B is to eventually go back to school. The thing about going back to school in my field, especially science majors, I'm not sure if it's changed or not yet, but typically when it comes to your sciences, if you haven't gone back to school within that 5 year period, you are going to have to redo your major sciences such as
Hmm.
biology, chemistry, physics, the whole shebang.
Yeah,
So
and yeah.
that's a project that I feel like I would have to chip away at, not necessarily just go at it, full force like I did, within the last couple of years, because that'll lead to burnout. And I don't want to do that to myself because I do have goals that I still want to accomplish. But um, learning how to keep yourself afloat in between time and doing what works best for you is the main thing to working to your goals. Like you might not be there right now, and it might seem very far away, but there's something within your field that you can do.
Hmm. Yep, and that's where those side projects come in. That is why I tell people, right? Like you said, like you said about the plan of getting back into the field of continuing your own thing, right? Continue doing your own projects, your own business, and that's key because people think, well, hey, I'm not working, then I'm just not doing anything. When the thing is, you shouldn't have to depend on a job. Like, yeah, you need a job to get money, but you should not depend on the job to actually use your skills that you are passionate about, right? You went to school for these skills, you studied, and you got these skills. You might as well use them if you're getting paid or not. You might as well volunteer somewhere. You might as well make a project. If you got your own business, apply to your own business. But the biggest thing I want people to take away from this is that stop spending money on finding a job.
Yes,
Yeah,
like all those resume refiners, and we gonna do this, and that to get. Don't do it.
it's,
Please don't do it.
that's the biggest thing I want people to take away from this is
And it's like I
it's
understand. Trust me, I've been there. Like frustrated, where it's like nobody will hire me. I can't understand what's going on. And sometimes, like I said, you can either go the entrepreneur route, find a way to make money on your own, or sometimes you do have to venture off into a different field.
mm, yeah,
Such as waitressing and serving. The easiest way to get some easy money throughout your day. If
yeah,
you're into warehouse jobs, whether it's driving, Ubering, Door Dashing, I mean, there's something that you can do to keep yourself afloat and not have yourself in the dark just because you're not within your field. Because
mm, that's
again,
a
we
lot.
all still need to, regardless of what the situation is, we all still have to be able to take care of ourselves, and that just comes with accountability. Um, you might not be working a job that was in your field, but if you know you're going to go back into that, just making sure you're still keeping up to date on your information, making sure you're learning new things, just sharpening the skills that you already have, and not just getting so caught up on the fact that I'm not in my field, because
Yeah,
it might not be happening right now, but eventually it will.
and that's yeah,
Or you can make your own way.
that's the thing. That's why I tell people. I see a lot of people who LinkedIn daily posting. Of course, they've been laid off for however many months. I'm pretty sure they overlook those type of roles you just said, something just to keep themselves afloat. But now they're posting about being homeless next week, or things positions that you don't want to put yourself in just because you're too prideful to switch into something else, or
Right.
you don't have to. That's why you should get skills that's transferable to other industries, right? Even you may not see yourself in that industry that you're getting those skills in, but still, just having a diverse skill set will make you uh, marketable, so you can say, hey, well, the mortgage industry is not booming right now, but I got data entry, Excel skills. I can do uh, something like data entry or admin assistant or something like that, right? You have those other
Right.
skills you can apply to other jobs that keeps you ready at all times for layoffs, and you can just pivot around into the economy catches back up to where it's supposed to be at. So, right, takeaways from this, right, people. So the takeaways from this is okay. Nothing is promised to you. There's especially in tech right now. There's so many people advertising six-figure cyber career jobs
I see
within
that
three
everywhere.
within 3 months by taking this course, by taking this cert. Uh, the TikTokers who are content creators, quote unquote, don't know what they're talking about. They probably never had a technical job a day in their life, and they're just promoting things just for the views and likes. Stop falling victim. and prey to these scams is exactly what they are. Paying thousands of dollars with no guarantee of nothing, right? You'll still be unemployed if you don't know how to actually leverage the things that you're actually learning and applying to yourself. So, two, the job search, like I said, should not cost you thousands of dollars. So don't let the resume builders who don't even have any experience in your field charge you $1,000 to rewrite your resume. Like your exercise, physical therapy, those type of things that you fall under, right? And you have a resume builder whose background is in mortgage lending. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would do you any justice, right? So that's what people are falling for these days. You have the resume builders whose
Right.
background has nothing to do with you, but you expect them to write your resume that fits what you do and can properly explain what your skills are. It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Like you
Uh,
can make my resume look nice, but is it going to be conducive to the job I'm trying to get?
yeah, it doesn't work that way. So don't spend money on the job search. Keep yourself marketable, transferable skills. If you're looking for a role and you're not getting in there, okay, it's time to start networking with people, contacting them on LinkedIn. Hey, what you do at your job? What kind of skills should I learn? Et
Even with
cetera, et
like showing
cetera.
up to different expos. I know like I mean you might have to look it up, but there are like different like fitness expos or for you guys you could have there could be some type of tech guru coming to speak somewhere. You can just things of those nature that might be out in your community that you can go to as well just to say, hey, get your
Yeah,
name out there and meet people.
get your face seen and get some contact information exchanged. Have your this thing they call the elevator pitch, which is a quick 10-second snippet of who you are, what you do, what your skills are. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you say the right things, you have that down practiced, and yeah, just saying it to the right person may get you into the breakthrough that you needed, right? So it's all about a timing thing. It's a timing thing. It's a networking thing. There's a forever learning aspect of it. You're gonna forever be learning. You're gonna forever need to acquire the skills that you need to land your next role. So, but all right. So that's going to conclude this episode. It's been very informative. I'm glad that I had Christian Rice on here. I
Yes, it was
leave
good to talk
her.
to you all.
I leave her if you want to reach out to her or have some fitness questions that she can answer. I can just leave her information in the description below. You can reach out to her on social media pages if she's fine. I'm pretty sure she's open to answering any type of questions about
Feel free
you
to message.
fitness gurus who wants to stay in shape and things of that nature. But on the next episode, we should be talking about, yeah, more of the hiring issues and ways I going to present the break and barrier to entry for tech, right? So we're going to see the common issues with hiring, which we've already discussed a few times, but HR professional will give you a direct insight on what's going on. And till next time, thanks for joining.
Thank y'all.